Welcome. It's day 7 at the American Cup. This is the post-game show, and we are ready with today's highlights. I'm Women Grandmaster Katerina Nemcova, and I'm joined by Grandmaster Yasser, Seirawan, and Grandmaster Cristian, Chirila.
Good to see you, Katerina.
Wow, these highlights, what we have. I just can't imagine how Tatev was able to recover from that devastating loss that she had with Alice Lee, because she's up against a big challenge today. She's playing Arena.
Yes, and she mentioned in her interview with Eric Rosen that she couldn't fall asleep until 4:30 a.m. That's how devastating that loss was. But she was able to come back because she decided to play with black, kings in defense. She managed an attack.
Risk,
Yeah, she took some risk, but she managed to create an attack on the king side, and then she won her game. And then with white pieces, she only needs to make a draw. So Irina Krush trying to create complications, but Tatev kept her composure and won the second game as well. Let's take a look.
Some highlights. All jammed up. Tatev winning attack.
3 seconds for Irina. She needs to make a move.
She's going to lose on time.
No, she managed with 1 second on the clock.
No way. But knight takes g3, capturing. You can't capture with the bishop. That's checkmate on the board. You capture with the queen. Yes. You'll be an exchange down. I'll just take. And she's taken the knight. Irina's lost. That's it. Irina is lost. And she now realizes that pawn takes, rook takes f1 check,
The
and
attack on the
Tatev wins.
h-file is too strong.
And she has resigned.
Because she had no time. She's flagged.
Tatev wins the first game with the black pieces. Not at all.
Yeah.
Not at all.
I think we're going to see a resignation right now.
Good call.
Congratulations to Tatev Abrahamian,
Absolutely.
who is the winner of the elimination bracket, the finalist who's going to challenge Alice Lee tomorrow in classical chess.
That was the ladies' elimination. What about the open elimination, Fabi?
Well, guess what? We had a match that we've seen throughout this event and in previous editions as well, and we know what it can produce. And it was just a back and forth affair. Fabiano drew the first blood. Let's take a look at the highlights of game 1 in the rapid portion. Queen to b5.
To b5. Okay, targeting the pawn on b3.
But now h4 is coming.
And he's done it.
h4, h5, softening up the light squares.
Well, we
around
are
the king.
threatening also knight g5 check.
Ooh, that's a nice one.
So that if you take with the pawn, I can take the bishop.
Queen b5 was not a good move by Levon, and right now Fabiano is closing in.
Oh my goodness, because again, these pieces are just menacing. Queen
f8.
Oh,
that's it. Game over.
No.
Game over. Okay, queen takes f6.
Is there
nothing.
There's no stalemate. I can't go queen h3, and Levon knows it. Knight f8.
He just realized it. He shook his hand.
He blundered queen f8.
5 seconds on the clock.
Resignation. They will switch colors and do it all again.
Incredible pressure from game 1 from Fabiano Caruana, and finally managed to get the full point. But we've seen Levon come back into this particular matchup so many times in this tournament, and this was no excuse for that either. Take a look at this one. Levon with the white pieces in a must-win situation gets this position against the IQP, the 2 knights against the 2 bishops. And at this point, after knight to d4, rook to c8, good move. Best move, knight cb5, and you have to be careful because this is not your only weakness as black. You have another weakness, and that is the pawn on a5. Keep an eye out on that pawn. Bishop to f8, this was the mistake. He had the right idea, but he needed to start with a move bishop to c5, a4, cement that weakness on a5, bishop to a6, and after bishop to d2, now I can defend that weakness with bishop to b6. In the game, he played the move bishop to f8. After a4, bishop a6, had the right idea to connect with these knights, but unfortunately after bishop to d2, you just simply don't have a good way to defend against bishop takes a5. And after Levon picked up that pawn, knight takes d6, bishop takes d6, bishop to a5, we got all the way into this endgame. After queen takes g5, queen takes a4, I'm picking up a couple of pawns, and we sort of agreed here in the studio that this must be winning for white, but it wasn't easy. And there were some pitfalls along the way as well. Specifically, at this point, after queen takes e5, queen to g6, you start pushing your pawns. You start making it more and more difficult for black to stay connected to the square. g7, queen to g5, bishop to a2, g4, great move, queen to c7, and I think this was the last moment where he could have misstepped white Levon by playing the move bishop to e5. He did not play this one. Of course, it's still winning, but after queen to a7, you start seeing these checks on g1. You start getting worried. You can hide with king to h3, but guess what? You know, bishop to d3, bishop to f1, you start seeing these checks, you get impatient, and you make mistakes. He didn't do that. He played the move queen to c1, great idea, bishop to d3, queen to e1, queen to c5, and a very nice way to finish things up. Once again, setting up this whole setup again with the queen on e5, a nice battery, finally getting the pawns moving in the right direction. Bishop to b1, get that bishop off the board, king to h4, and after queen to g2, don't give me one more move. You start giving up checks, queen takes g7, queen takes g7, bishop takes g7, would have followed, but after king to g5, you pretty much can resign. Just an incredible bounce back victory by Levon.
That was huge, absolutely. Winning on demand. That meant it was 1-1, and the players had to go to blitz.
Yes, so let's see how that went.
It's all good. It's all good. It's all one-way traffic. And with the H-pawn running as well, it's over. And it's not over till it's over. They'll change colors.
There's a check on e2, but that's about it.
Oh, he missed that knight g6.
And once again, Levon finds himself in a must-win situation for the nth time.
Queen takes e4 check.
And queen takes b7.
Queen
it's
takes
over.
b7.
It's all over.
And wins.
It is all over.
And wins.
b2? Maybe not yet.
Rook a6 check.
Rook a6 check. Oh, and Fabi.
Wow.
Fabi finishes the job.
We're going to have a rematch between Nakamura and Fabi. And Kate, do the honors, the elimination brackets. Let's see them one final time.
And let's start with the women's section. So in the elimination bracket, Tatev Abrahamian lost yesterday to Alice Lee, so she dropped to the elimination bracket. But guess what? She defeated she defeated Irina Krush, and now tomorrow she's gonna challenge Alice Lee.
In the open elimination bracket?
In the open elimination bracket, it was Fabiano Caruana who lost to Hikaru Nakamura, dropped to the elimination bracket, but he defeated Levon Aronian once again in this tournament, and tomorrow he's gonna challenge Hikaru Nakamura.
We have our grand finalists for the women. This is it. This is the big match.
Yes, and the score is 5 wins for Alice Lee, 2 losses and 4 draws. So difficult opponent for Tatev Abrahamian, but she won today's match.
Wow.
So she is ready to fight back.
Our grand finalists in the open bracket, Kate.
Here it is Hikaru Nakamura against Fabiano Caruana. These guys
So
have
close.
38 draws together, so I'm curious how it's gonna go tomorrow.
And our schedule tomorrow.
Schedule is tomorrow we will have only the champions bracket because the elimination bracket is already decided, and we will have 1 classical game.
Looking forward to that. Cristian, another day in the office and another dramatic finish.
Absolutely, just 2 incredible matches. 2 players get eliminated. Right now, we're going to the grand finals.
Yeah. How did Tata find the energy, the strength to come back from that devastating loss? That was a real championship moment. Thank you for joining us, everybody. We will see you all tomorrow for the American Cup 2025.
Good night.
Good night.
Wow.